With just a few months left on his parole, Dylan Forrester receives a birthday card from his brother Sean, who expresses excitement about seeing him on Guardian Island once his troubles are behind him. Later, another card arrives from Sean for Thanksgiving, this time asking Dylan to help with renovations. However, the following month, Dylan is hit with the tragic news of Sean's sudden death. As he processes this, an armed man appears in his apartment, and soon after, the SWAT team led by Special Agent Shaughnessy arrives. Although Dylan is nowhere to be found, they discover the man from earlier severely beaten. Shaughnessy also comes across Dylan's antipsychotic and depression medication, as well as his tracking anklet, indicating a violation of his parole. Shaughnessy meets with Dr. Alderwood, Dylan's psychiatrist, and reveals that Dylan recently assaulted someone, leaving the man in a coma, with evidence of torture. When Dr. Alderwood denies that Dylan would do such a thing, Shaughnessy reminds him that Dylan was imprisoned for murder 8 years ago, suggesting he's capable of violence. However, Dr. Alderwood maintains faith in Dylan's rehabilitation and claims not to know where he is. As Shaughnessy departs, she learns about Sean Forrester, Dylan's younger brother, a professor who had left his job to turn his home into an inn. With the funeral happening the next day, Shaughnessy prepares to head to Guardian Island. Meanwhile, Dylan arrives on Guardian Island, where Sean had purchased a home, and checks into the inn. He rehearses how to express his condolences before taking his medication. Later, he puts his practice into action when he meets his mother, Linda, who is furious at the potential risk of him being there. Angry and upset, Linda storms off, leaving Dylan to pay respects to his brother. While doing so, Dylan notices Sean's dirt-covered nails and a scar on his neck. Sean's wife, Susan, explains that he had fallen from scaffolding. Later, Linda shares with Susan that she's already suffered enough due to Dylan's inability to feel emotions. Dylan declines a drink with Sean's friend Massey, catching the interest of Sheriff McCoy. Soon after, McCoy gets a call about Dylan's parole violation. Dylan retreats to his room and contacts Dr. Alderwood, who calmly reminds him to take his lithium pills, suggesting they might help him feel emotions and mend ties with his family. Dr. Alderwood also encourages Dylan to show his family that he's truly changed. While Sheriff McCoy investigates further into Dylan's past, Freddie, Sean's son, meets his uncle. Curious about Dylan's reputation, Freddie, having heard of his uncle's insanity from Linda, learns from Dylan that he simply doesn't care about people's feelings and is incapable of fear. When Dylan explains that this doesn't make him insane, Freddie seems to accept it. Freddie then shows Dylan the Japanese submarine model he and Sean were working on. Meanwhile, Sheriff McCoy confirms Dylan's identity and prepares to take him into custody. Linda notes that she hadn't heard from Dylan for years before his sudden appearance. As Dylan and Freddie return to the inn, Freddie is sent upstairs and Linda reiterates to Dylan that he doesn't belong there. As Sheriff McCoy returns, Dylan tries to explain that his therapy and medication have changed him, but Linda refuses to believe it. McCoy then arrests Dylan for attempted murder, informing him that the FBI is on its way. The sheriff takes Dylan to the island's bunker and locks him up. Later, Joe, the inn receptionist, brings coffee for McCoy and Dylan. The sheriff mentions not knowing that Sean had a brother and shares that Sean had wanted to discuss something with him before his death. Since Sean is now gone and Dylan has suddenly appeared, McCoy hints that Dylan might be involved in his brother's demise. Just then, Dylan's alarm sounds, reminding him to take his medication. He asks the sheriff for help getting his pills from his pocket. Holding Dylan at gunpoint, McCoy retrieves the pills. Joe arrives with coffee, but Dylan declines. Moments later, McCoy hears an approaching boat and assumes it's the FBI. Upon investigation, he realizes it's a group of mercenaries. McCoy is quickly shot, alerting Joe and the others at the inn. The sheriff fires back but is ultimately killed by Cole, the leader of the mercenaries. The mercenaries spread across the island, capturing Linda, Susan, and the inn's staff. Joe is found in the bunker by Weir, one of the mercenaries, who confiscates her phone. Cole orders Weir to interrogate the hostages before taking any further steps. Dylan, meanwhile, sneaks up on Weir and knocks him out, impressing Joe with the success of their ambush. Dylan leaves the bunker, with Joe following him. Elsewhere on her way to the island, Shaughnessy wonders why Dylan left a witness alive in his apartment, as it's uncharacteristic of him. Back at the island, Cole searches for whatever Sean might have hidden. Hugh, one of the kitchen staff, tries to escape but is shot by Cole's sniper. Dylan and Joe hide in the trees as Susan, Linda, and Massey are left shaken by Hugh's death. Dylan slips into the kitchen and arms himself with a knife. He surprises Joe to provoke a reaction, luring Blanchard, another mercenary, into the room. Dylan knocks him out. Meanwhile, Cole meets with Weir and Felix at the bunker, questioning why Dylan left Weir alive. Cole ends Weir's suffering by killing him and then announces that whoever kills Dylan will receive a larger share of the money. As the house's steel shutters close, Cole realizes Blanchard is inside but can't reach him. Dylan tries to convince Linda that Cole's crew didn't follow him, then calls Dr. Alderwood to discuss his struggles. Alderwood advises him to make choices he'll be proud of and not give in to violent tendencies. Dylan interrogates a bound Blanchard about the mercenaries' intentions, but frustration leads him to rejoin his family. Susan insists Dylan save them, though Linda and Massey remain skeptical. When Pike, a mercenary, peers through a window, Massey pulls a shotgun on him, and Dylan helps him fire. Pike retreats and Cole orders his sniper to kill Massey, but they find that the house is armor-plated and impervious to their bullets. Furious, Linda demands that Dylan leave to prevent further danger to the family. Meanwhile, Shaughnessy learns about Sean's financial troubles and the mysterious wire transfer that enabled him to purchase Guardian Island, a former World War II naval base. Before leaving, Dylan speaks with Susan, who reveals that Sean had been restoring the lighthouse when he died. Hugh, who discovered Sean's body, had only been working there for a month. Dylan follows her advice and heads to the lighthouse while Cole instructs Felix and Pike to retrieve seismic testing equipment from their boat. Back at the inn, Felix and Pike search the grounds with their equipment while Dylan sneaks back inside. Freddy surprises Blanchard with his toy gun, and Pike holds Joe at gunpoint. Dylan encounters Blanchard in Freddy's room, sending the boy downstairs while he deals with Blanchard. Freddy reunites with Susan just as Pike arrives, still holding Joe hostage. To protect Joe, Massey surrenders his weapon. Dylan pretends to reach for a mirror shard but fatally stabs Blanchard with Freddy's toy submarine. Dylan shoots Pike in the arm, forcing him to retreat to report to Cole. Dylan then confronts Cole, who mocks his reliance on therapy and medication. Cole reveals that Sean's death was linked to something hidden on the island. When Cole realizes Dylan is clueless, he orders his sniper to shoot him, only to find the sniper already dead. Dylan rushes back inside and shares what Cole told him about Sean, noting the grease under his nails, indicating Sean was working on something before he died. Dylan concludes that Hugh was likely one of Cole's men sent to spy on Sean. Dylan leads the group to the wine cellar where they find a hidden door and a passage. As they cautiously follow it, Shaughnessy learns that Cole stole a yacht, recognizing him as a high-level fixer and Dylan's former employer. She mistakenly believes Dylan and Cole are working together again. At the island, Felix and Pike continue their search while Massey follows Dylan down the passage. They uncover the reason for Sean's death, a hidden Japanese submarine from World War II. Felix finds evidence of a tunnel leading from the inn to the lighthouse. Cole returns to the inn while Dylan and Massey find Yamashita's gold, a long-lost treasure from the war. Cole confronts Joe, realizing Linda and Susan are at the hidden door in the wine cellar. Felix and Pike open fire but Linda attacks Cole, allowing Susan and Freddy to escape. Massey is shot but follows Dylan onto the submarine. Following advice from Dr. Alderwood, Dylan uses the submarine's deck gun to fight back, while Massey struggles under heavy gunfire. Dylan takes down Pike, and an explosion kills Felix. Cole arrives with Linda and realizes Dylan has discovered the gold. Massey attempts to shoot Cole but is killed. With Linda held at gunpoint, Cole offers Dylan a deal: retrieve the gold and leave the island before the FBI arrives. Dylan refuses and collapses under the weight of the gold. Shaughnessy arrives and is shot at by Cole. In a final act of defiance, Dylan throws the gold into the water, enraging Cole. Cole releases Linda, who clings to the platform, while he tackles Dylan. Proving he has changed, Dylan fights back and kills Cole, saving Linda. Recognizing Dylan's growth, Linda embraces her son. The next morning, Dylan calls Dr. Alderwood and assures him he will protect his family. He bids farewell to his therapist, deciding to be himself for a while. In a symbolic gesture, Dylan dumps his pills into the ocean. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more movie recaps.